Hello students, welcome back to the class. In the last class we have discussed about monotheistic theories and pluralistic theory of sovereignty. In this class we are going forward for the new short answers. So first one, origin of law. From where the word law is originated. The laws are originated from the Latin word which means lag or to set together. It means bond or tie. Whenever if you are tying something or if you are bonding something, then that is called as law. The law is nothing but a systematic code, rules and regulations that should conduct and regulate the external behaviors of sovereignty. So if you wanted to control the administrative or external behavior of powers, law is very important. Law is important to control the society, okay, to control the society and to control the citizens of the country. The laws are very important to regulate the external behaviors of sovereignty, we can say. So what we have studied? We have studied that this is originated from the Latin word which means lag, to set, to tie or to bond together. Law is nothing but the systematic rules and regulations. So systematic rules and regulations which will conduct and regulate the external behavior of sovereignty, external behavior of powers. Next, come to the point. Write about uniques about British Constitution. Children's British Constitution is quite unique features. So British Constitution is unique in the sense this is quite different when compared to other constitutions we can find. British Constitution is unwritten constitution which are given to the citizens, and British Constitution is not offered any constitution guaranteed or rights to the citizens, because in British Constitution they have not written only constitution. The British Constitution is unwritten constitution, and that's why they have not guaranteed constitution rights to the citizens. But the citizen rights are mainly protected through a rights which is called as rule of law. Rule of law is a concept we have taken from England only. Rule of law explains that when all the citizens are equal in front of law, so then that is called as rule of law. So what we have discussed here, we have discussed about unique features of British Constitution. So British Constitution has unique features because most of the British constitutions are unwritten constitution, okay. So and British Constitution is unwritten constitution and they have not offered. So British Constitution has not offered any constitution right to the citizens, and most of the rights are protected by rule of law. Rule of law is nothing but this is the right when all the citizens are equal in front of law, so that is called rule of law. Next, come to the point, rule of law in Constitution of India. So Constitution have recognized the rule of law as a fundamental rights. So every constitution have recognized our constitution, what they have recognized that rule of law is a fundamental rights. This is a basic citizen rights which are given to the citizen. So Supreme Court of India have declared the basic structure of Indian Constitution. What Supreme Court of India have declared? That rule of law is a fundamental rights and that should be given to the citizens. That should be given to the citizens so that citizens can enjoy the freedom. But if you see the splits of the constitutions, most of the splits of fundamental rights and the rule of law was included from the Article 14 to 21 of the Constitution. Rule of law rights are included from Article 14 to 21. Right to equality, right to freedom, right to religious freedom, right against exploitation, cultural and education right to constitution remedy. So whatever the rights are there, rights which are constituted rule of laws were mainly included from the Article 14 to 21 of the Constitution. So what we have studied? We have studied the rule of law in the Indian Constitution. Our Constitution have recognized the rule of law as a fundamental rights. So our Constitution have recognized rule of law as a fundamental rights. Supreme Court of India also declared the rule of law is a basic structure of Indian Constitution, and most of these rights we can find in Article 14 to 21. Next, come to the point, positive aspects of liberty. Liberty in positive sense denotes that individuals, whatever the individuals, they are free to do anything, free to do according to the wish. So that is called as positive liberty. The freedom in which the citizen has a liberty for free to do anything. So that comes under positive liberty. okay, and other to do same things. Liberty is a power, they are not harm to others. If you take an example, liberty, so this is a power which is not harmful to others. So this is also one point. Once again I am going forward. Positive liberties are nothing but liberty in the positive sense, in the sense individuals has a right to do anything. Whenever the citizens and the individuals, when they have right to do anything, so that comes under the sense of positive liberty, okay. And we are not only expecting that we should enjoy the positive liberty, and also we should make other also should enjoy the positive liberty. Liberty is a power that should not cause harm to others, okay. So everybody should enjoy the liberty, everybody should enjoy freedom, and we should enjoy the liberty as well as we should make others to enjoy the liberty. We should not cause any type of harms to others. This is one point. So what we have understand here, children, we have understand about positive liberty. Positive liberties in the positive sense denotes that whenever the individuals are free to do anything, so that is called as positive liberty, and he is expecting other to do same thing. Liberty is nothing but a power which will not cause any harm to others. So that is one point. Next we will go forward, negative liberty. Liberty in the negative aspects implies that there is an absence of restriction. Whenever there is an absence of restriction, restraints and constraints. So whenever there is an absence of restriction, that comes under negative liberty. In the modern times, if you see, neither feasible and not practicable, we can't force, okay, and we can't practice, so every person can enjoy the freedom. So that comes under negative liberty. Negative liberty in the sense we restrict some individuals to perform some activities, such as for example destroying the public property. So we are we are making a restrictions upon individual not to do this activity. Positive liberty means we are doing that activity which we will encourage, but negative liberty is nothing but we are restricting individuals not to perform that activities. That comes under negative liberty. Protecting the public properties and not destroying the public property. No person have right to destroy the liberty of destroying public property. Not respecting the flag, national anthem. So this all comes under negative liberty. So we will allow citizens not to perform this activity. So whenever the law, whenever the liberty which will make restrictions upon individual not to perform the activity, that comes under negative liberty. Next come to the point, children, here, measures for security and economic liberty. So these are the economic liberties we can find. First one, if a person has a provision of minimum wage, first of all every person should get a provisions of minimum wage. Second thing, every person should have right to work. Every person should be given right to work. Second thing, there is every person provide adequate leisure facilities. Leisure facilities must be provided in the adequate quantity, okay. And fourth important point is protecting the workers from unemployment. Protecting the workers from unemployment means workers should get employed. Every person should be protected from unemployment. Unemployment means when a person does not have any jobs, that comes under unemployment. So whenever if you are protecting the citizens from all these things, so we can say that is a economic liberty. First one, every person should get minimum wages. Every person, when they are enjoying the minimum wage, every person should have right to work. Next one, every person have adequate provision of leisure facilities. When every person will get a adequate provision of leisure facilities and protecting the workers from unemployment, so these all things comes under economic liberty. Next one, if you see the equal opportunities. Equality of opportunities does not indicate liberal equality. Equality of opportunities does not indicate literal equality. Whenever people are getting opportunities in their life so that they can able to develop, that is equal opportunity. Opportunities is very important to develop the personal development as well as the capacity. Children, if you are giving freedom, when a person are getting an opportunities like jobs or sports, cultural activities, whenever a person is getting an opportunities to develop their internal personality as well as the capacity, that comes under equal opportunities. This is required for maximizations of inequality. So if opportunities are given equally to all the people, then what will happen, that inequalities in the societies automatically will decreases. So in these 2 points what we have discussed that measures for securing economic liberty. If you wanted to secure the economic liberty, what are the things we have to do? First one, there is a provision of minimum wage. Every person should be given minimum wage, every person should have right to work, every person should be given adequate facilities of leisure, leaves, and protecting the workers from unemployment. Every worker should protect from unemployment. Now equal opportunities, whenever opportunities are given in terms of equal point, that is equal opportunity, it does not indicate literal equality. Whenever if you are giving opportunities so that a person can develop their capacity as well as personality development, and equal opportunities are very important so that minimum inequalities can be decreases. When opportunities are given, what will happen? They will develop, and whatever the minimizations are there, inequalities are there in the society, that inequalities will decrease. Minimize means inequalities in the society will decrease. When you are providing opportunities to all the citizens equally, whenever opportunities are provided to all the citizens equally, then inequalities from the societies automatically will decrease. So this is the point. Next class we will discuss with the same unit 2. Okay, the next class we will discuss with the same topic. Children, this is unit 4. Okay, so we are discussing about unit 4. In the next class we will continue with the same topic. Thank you very much.